I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's show. As usual, we got a lively show, great conversation, and we're talking to a brother from the city of Hartford, a lifelong resident of Hartford, and we're going to discuss the prison system and how it affects the African American community, and he's going to tell his story about being a part of that cycle. I'm going to add the word vicious cycle, because at the end of the day, make no mistake, if you do or break the law, you do something illegal, you should be punished. But there's something to be said about the numbers of people of color, particularly African Americans, the time that they're spending in incarceration, and that whole system needs to be examined. So like we do here on the challenge, we go to the people and hear directly from the people. So we're not going to give you a whole bunch of stats and a whole bunch of figures and numbers. We have real people telling their real life story. So without any further comment from me, I'd like to welcome Mr. Tommy Richardson. How you doing today, Tommy?
I'm doing pretty fine.
All right. So as I said, you're a lifelong member of Hartford. Where did you grow up in Hartford?
I grew up on the North End.
In the North End?
Yes.
All right. What was it like as a kid in Hartford? How was everything?
Oh, growing up in Hartford was pretty. It was pretty cool. You know, we had fun. We went to the zoo and swam. We played basketball. We did a lot of great things in Hartford.
All right, and then you mentioned the zoo and some other things. Do you think, and then we'll get into some other information, do you think now the opportunities that some of the kids have, is it more or less, or, like growing up, I remember it did seem like we had a lot more to do outside of the home, a lot more fun stuff, and you don't just see the kids doing a lot of that stuff now.
No, back when I was growing up, it was like a community thing.
Right.
So we had a lot to do. And not only that we had a lot to do, is that people took care of people better than they do today. You know, I believe the generation is kind of lost because of, I think this generation is lost because of the drugs.
Right.
You know, this generation, I believe, a lot of them been affected by the, when back in the 80s, because for me to say this, that a lot of kids today, parents was affected by drugs.
Right, right.
So now they is the product of that.
Right.
And they don't see a way out to or whatever. You know, you can like see sign and be sign, but still not be affected. Because I believe that sometimes you can be deaf, dumb, and blind.
Right.
And don't know nothing.
Right.
Because if you stand still and everything moving forward, and you just caught in the grips.
Right. And you know, I definitely agree with that. I believe that, you know, the app, and I don't want to get too far off on the drug thing, but you're right. We had an epidemic, because that's what it is, man. It was something that just flooded the community, and the residual or result of that is parents weren't able to be there financially, emotionally, physically, because of incarceration and things like that. And so basically you had a generation raising themselves, and without certain structure in their life, man. It's you're right. It's kind of like a spiritual lawlessness of some of our young people, absent of some consequential thinking. So I mean, so you're definitely right. There's less opportunities for our young people, specific to your life, in being in the penal system and all of that. So you grew up in Hartford. So what was it like? I guess I would say like in school and stuff like that. Like where did you, or why did you think that you took the route that you took?
To be truthful, is the reason why I took the route that I took because I lost something in school because one time I was going to school and the teacher told me that the only thing a black man will ever be is a bellboy, a sanitizing person.
Right.
And, you know, I'm saying back then I wanted to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying, they like kind of stole my dreams.
Right, right.
You know, and I fell for it too because I became rebellious. You know what I'm saying? And for me to become, because at that time, I believe at the time that I felt that they thought that my opinions didn't count.
Right, right.
So I went against the grain, you know. Knowing what I know now, sometimes that someone can say something to you and know they're saying something to you and just throw you off course.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it works both ways because if you get encouraged, then if I'm telling you that you could be this, then you're really going to believe that, but it works in both directions. If I tell you you're not going to be nothing, then you might take that on as what your future is going to be. So I guess when someone, when was the first time you got arrested?
The first time I got arrested, to be honest, probably like 12.
All right. And then, because part of just looking at information that I know about the prison system, part of it is, especially when you get involved as a juvenile, is that our parents don't know how to navigate through the system. So when you get arrested at 12, was your mom involved in that situation, or was it something that they just kind of pushed through as the court system?
When I got, my mom's always been involved in my life, and she thought she was doing the best that she can, but actuality that once you become a product of the state, because this is what you is, a product of the state, right? And then you become in a cycle,
right?
You know, and then anything that you do and say always go back towards the judicial system. So, you know, you are caught in the grips. So now for me, that I can never get a break from that. And I didn't know that I got, so to speak, as far as how I thought then is like being a part of a system that create problems and try to make a solution to the problem, but the problem always it remain the same.
Right, right.
You know, for me, that, you know, I don't know, I was lost, bitter, and back then our parents used to discipline us, and then once they took that from the parents,
right.
And then, you know, the state do the discipline, the judicial system do the discipline. So anytime that, you know, something goes on, that they always get involved.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying at 12, you get arrested at 12, now you going through the court system, and they say that this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
What was it, if you don't mind, what was it that you did? Do you think it warranted the punishment that you got?
Eventually that I shoplift. It started from shoplift. You know, shoplift.
All right, so let me just take that, because that's a discretionary thing, meaning that as a police officer, I could arrest you for shoplifting, or I could call your mom.
Right.
So you're saying the police officer took it upon himself to arrest you?
Yes.
All right.
And I ended up in Hartford detention in Washington.
Oh, so he arrested you and took it upon himself to put you in lockup?
Yes.
For shoplifting?
Yes.
Was it a valuable item?
No, it wasn't all that valuable. It wasn't all that valuable. And It wasn't. So by me like being I felt like it wasn't fair, right?
Right.
So that accidentally I had a revenge against them.
Right. So now that's an adversary. It's no longer your view of the system changes.
Yeah.
Right. Your opinion changes.
Yeah.
How you being molded by the system. Absolutely.
Exactly. So and then I end up in a state receiving home called.
For that first incident.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not for the first one. I told you I became bitter because that when I told the truth that the truth didn't mean that.
Right.
Because that it might sound strange, but the truth that sometimes that people of that I'm not trying to be racial, but they accept a lie before they accept the truth.
Yeah, man, let me ask you. It ain't even being racial. Your recollection. What was the color of the people on that side?
Yeah, white.
All right.
Yeah,
That's factual. That's not racial. That's a fact, man.
And so I grew up having revenge against them, and trying to study them as they study us.
Right.
And by me studying them, I believe that they susceptible to lies more than the truth.
Right.
It seems like the truth, they give you a hard time. They try to make you suffer and all that. But when you come with lies and stuff like that, for some reason, it just breathes through.
Make it go away.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. So you did mention going to a group home. What age were you at when that happened?
Probably like 12, 13.
Oh, so within that, do you want to say what that crime was, or?
I believe back then I was just a shoplifter.
Yeah. Oh, so it was the same thing. So then, so again, that's a discretionary thing. Yeah. They just decided that you, as an individual, would. What do you think? They thought that you needed to be rehabilitated, or do you think it was more of a punishment? Because at 12 years old, I don't know how serious. I mean, we don't want to shoplift, but I don't know if like the punishment fit in the crime. I mean, to remove you from society, remove you from your home.
Oh, because as I look back and tell you the truth, I think I was just a dollar sign to them.
Right.
Because that, like I said, it started from school, but I believe like they had to create a problem to try to figure out a solution. And when a kid's spirit is already being broke, so it's really no solution to the problem.
Right.
Because you are the problem.
Right.
So if I consider you as a problem, then you really ain't got no solution for me.
Right. Except to move you out.
Yeah.
Send you away.
So with me, that since I figured that you are the problem, and then I did everything, according, or should I say, rebellious, because in the household you didn't let my parents don't really discipline me or nothing like that.
Right.
So that everything that some came across, that is always you trying to fix it. Not only that you fix it, you mix lies.
Right.
So now, but you ain't being truthful, and then ain't listening to what I'm telling you, you bringing up your own story.
Right.
So now that, for me, that it was like, my spirit was already broke, so,
So then you get out. So at some point you didn't, so you get out and you go on with your life. How old were you? Because that's a group home, that's juvenile, so you're really considered, when you're under 16, you looked at differently.
Yeah.
Right?
So now, as I get out, now I'm already in the system, right? I became bitter and all that because I figured that you took me away from my family.
Right.
First of all, right? And second of all, when I did get out, right, I stayed stuck in that mold. So I ain't surrendered to nothing really.
Right.
But doing what I see, you know what I'm saying, that they're gonna try to help my family out.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, as I'm listening to you, I mean, we all, whether or not we want to accept them or not, we all get labeled. I mean, even within the community, you got the nerd, you got the cool kid, you got the athlete. So if they put the label of criminal on you, then I could definitely understand how that affects your socialization and how you start to view yourself. That's the absolute, to me, absolute truth. As you get older, you're like 15, 16. Did you get incarcerated again before you got to be 18?
Yeah. Now, as I became the person I became, because what they did and said, and then I ended up in the prison at the age of 15. I'm going to 16, and I had caught a robbery case.
Okay.
And I stayed in prison for a long time. I got like a 7 or 14 years.
For one crime?
Yeah, for one crime.
At 15?
Yeah.
So that's the maximum you could get, huh? At that age?
Yeah. The maximum, 7 to 14.
So let me ask you this. So how long are you in there on that sentence?
I did like 4 years, 5 years.
Now, people often, so when you go out in the community, even, and I won't even say African, just the community at large, I think a lot of people make statements, they're based in ignorance, meaning that they don't know. So when you're sitting in there, what do you think the benefit is of that? Or is there any benefit? Or is there anything being learned or taught? Or because you're still spending time somewhere?
Oh, now you're getting somewhere, right? Once you're into the prison system, right, you become in a different environment, a different world, right? How you think it's trying to fix something, it's trying to keep you in the same mode.
Right.
Because the same thing that goes on in the streets goes on out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they use the same. It's really like, to me, it's like slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like sheep, cattle, horses, and dogs. You know what I'm saying? And once you get caught in that cycle, you become a product of the state. So now they know that you're gonna return because how the system is designed. So for me, it was like that. I left that my spirit in the prison every time I got out.
Right.
Because I thought every way how to get out, but always I'm gonna come back too. So I really never left prison. Even though I was out, I always returned.
Right. So when you do get out, so now you get out of prison, how does society? Because how old are you? You did the 4 years. How old are you then?
I think I got out when I was like 18.
All right. So now you in society. They just say go. You know the day comes to be released, and they just say
no. They put you on parole. They put you. Sometimes you go to a halfway house.
So and that to me that keeps that linkage, and I can understand what you're saying about you. I guess people think that you go to jail, you get out, and then now you just out. No. But there's a string attached to it.
Always a string attached. Yeah. It's always a doubt. You know, the doubt is that out of 25 of y'all, only 5 you gonna make it, right?
Okay.
Right then and there, they ain't saying directly that you ain't gonna make it, but indirectly they saying that you gonna be one of those that ain't gonna make it.
Right.
So now, right, how they place you in an environment where you ain't got an opportunity to make it. First of all, anywhere they put you in a halfway house or anywhere else is drugs there, right? Prostitution, anything, robberies, or nothing like that. So your opportunity of like succeeding and being something is really gone. So now, right, I can see that it was designed like this, right? All right, they help you in there, you get out, you get a job, boom, boom, boom. But it's not like that.
Right.
So now, right, even though that you make it out, but are you really out?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now the odds against you, right? So now, right, the first thing you're gonna hit because you still don't know who you is as a person, right? You still bitter and mad, right? So now, right, before you get from the prison system, right, they drop you off in front of the jail, right, and about time you leave from the correctional center get the main street. You know what you could have got into
Right.
if you're not strong enough.
Right. Yeah, because let me ask you. So from 14 to 18, you're still at an age where the majority of the people in that age range are learning. They're getting socialized. So they remove you from life. They put you in this penal system from 14 to 18. Was there any education, or was there any when you're at that 14 to 18 yet?
All right, it was educational, but and then again that if you are doing what it is to get out of prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can get your GED and all that, and still, but your mindset is still stuck there.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because of what they do and then how they treat you.
Right.
So never knew. You ain't really training your thoughts not to come back to prison.
Right.
So even though you get an education, but you trying to do something slicker and better, right?
When you get out.
I think you're gonna get away, but always you're gonna end back there.
Right. 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 So you out. So at 18, what was the time before you went back into prison?
Man, listen, I've been in prison almost all my life.
Right.
And up to like 2010.
Right.
So now I'm really just breaking a change.
Right.
So because that I didn't know that, you know, I was fighting against that myself. Really, right? I didn't know that I had surrender that I was powerless over how people, right, think.
Right.
Or their opinions of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt always into it, right? Because it's designed for a person, man. First of all, you got to create a problem,
Right.
right? To try to have a solution,
Right.
And actionality, the problem is still there,
Right.
because that they can't fix a problem if they create a problem,
Right.
because the problem is how they gonna keep their circle going along. Now I'm just saying that suppose that everybody stopped going to jail, right? The courts would be without. You wouldn't need no courts,
Right.
right? The police, you wouldn't need nobody to hold you.
Right.
So now, how can we keep all these people employed?
Right. Right.
Right. So now the point is that now they built all these jails, right? So they still, I'm saying they coming up with a solution to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's even worse.
Right.
So now, right now, what you did is killed off the older generation. Right now, the younger generation is still carrying it on. So now, instead of them was like going to prison, right? Now they killing off themselves.
So you think? Let me ask you. So as you go back through, do you think at any point that you were put into prison that it was unjust, meaning that either what you didn't warrant the amount of time that you got, or you didn't do anything at all? Or do you think it was justified each time you were?
You know what? To say my opinion, I believe it's justified, right? Because like I stated early, that they broke my spirit,
Right.
Right. So now that, you know what I'm saying, you got to study a group of people to know how they going and which way they was going,
Right.
Right. To try to create a solution for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So not only just me, they create a problem from. They create a problem for almost my whole generation.
Right. I see what you're saying. So it ain't like you got to prison and the guy was like, "Hey, come on, we're gonna make a change."
Yeah.
Because you with a whole bunch of other people that like
just like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and that's like, you know, sad, because that a prison is, I believe, designed to keep you in a cycle, man. Because that.
But let me ask you this: what do you say to the person that says, "Look, I go to work, I do this, you know, I follow the rules, no matter what they are, they follow them," and they say if this person does something, and I think this cuts along racial lines. I've heard this from black people, white people, all types of races, Hispanics. They say if you do a crime, then you need to go.
Okay, now, it depends on what kind, a type of crime you committed, because a crime always we are the crime. I consider, because that I believe that that a person can go to work every day and then he can be a house nigga, or a person or do something, he can be a field nigga, right?
Right.
So now, are you gonna go with the truth, right? Because that I believe that the truth don't be broken, it stay firm. So now that if you gonna go against the truth, and then you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ain't gonna go against the truth, and then you have telling the truth and have telling a lie, right? So and then you creating something deep.
Right.
So I believe that that's why a lot of brothers and sisters is still in a cycle, man.
So you mentioned that 2010 you out.
Yeah.
So now, if I'm a police officer and I interact with you, do I know what you did? That's gonna come up? So if I say, let me see your license, and I look at it, let me see your identification. So do you let them know, or will they find out? You think that changes how you treat it? Because even with what you're saying, so there's an expectation. So that you up to no good, or do you feel intimidated by the police?
I'm always gonna feel intimidated by them. Not that they scare me, because they really don't scare me.
Right.
It's because you never know what's gonna come out of them.
Right.
So I wouldn't give no indication to feel that I'm a criminal or something like that. I would just answer their questions.
Right.
Now I ain't got to answer everything they say, because I got rights too.
Right.
And especially if they ain't under arrest, I ain't got to say nothing to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or did something, officer, wrong or something like that?
Right.
No, you know what I'm saying? I believe today that I'm passing to find my character, because my character is no longer the same.
Right.
So, you just ain't gonna say anything to me.
Right.
You know, and there's a way to do something and a way to say something. And at the time that I used to try to do things out of like a physical form.
Right.
So now the only thing you got to do now is just like they write on me, I can write on them.
Mm-hmm.
So and I believe that that's how it been, right? You know what I'm saying? I come to a point in my life that I see that the only way you can beat them is basically with the truth.
Right. And let me ask you this: so you see the young brothers, because I read the paper and I see some of my brothers out there, and the mindset, man. I don't want to say, and this is a generalization, but some of these young kids that they just don't care, man. So if you were to get hold of someone on their way in, their first time, what would you tell them?
If I can get, tell them that, you no longer got to feel the way you feel.
Right.
Because the actionality that your emotions and your feelings drive you into which way you're gonna go anyway.
Right.
So now it's how you feel about yourself and how you feel about society.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's not much of what somebody did to you all the time. It's how can you make it different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So by being bitter, angry, it's not gonna get you nowhere.
Right. It's gonna get you in that system.
That's it. And once you get caught up in the system, and then they ain't gonna treat you fair.
Right.
Because now you use a number, right, and you money.
Right.
So that I believe that the system is designed to keep a family divided, lost.
Right.
Because that it take 22,000. No, it take 110,000 for a year to send a kid to Long Lane, or 50-some thousand, and then that you can do something with the kid family.
Right.
And try to figure out why is the kids are going wrong, or what's going on in the family, and it's instead of a divided them up by throwing a a wrench in the family,
Right.
and keep a bunch of confusion.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we got about a minute left, man. I'm glad to see you not in the system no more, because I believe that all of us have a contribution to make in our community. So even the fact that there was a time where you weren't part of the community, now that you're back, you know, do you feel like you have an obligation to let people know, or to try to help some of the younger people?
Yes. I definitely got obligation because I didn't really have the opportunity that that was given me, right? That I could give somebody else. So I can share to someone that you ain't got to go through what you're going through. You ain't got to feel the way you feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that a lot of people they didn't know no better.
Right.
So now you got someone to give you some information and share their experience with you. To let them know, because once you become bitter and carried on the resentments, you're gonna get lost.
Right. And you know, we run out of time, but one of the things that I do like is that you're right, man. We talk about, you know, money and all this other stuff, but information is a valuable commodity.
Yeah.
And without it, you said the magic words, man, you could be lost, man.
Right.
So, Tommy, man, it was great talking to you, man. I really like your insight. I think you let a lot of our viewers know, and hopefully might have changed their mind to just kind of be more open to the fact that that brothers don't want to go to jail.
You got that right.
You know, because oftentimes it's that, you know, he don't care, you know, and I always believe that we do care. We're caring people. And life can sometimes grab a hold of you that makes that difficult, man. So thank you for coming in.
Thanks for being here. But you know what I was saying to myself, right, that, you know, is that how can a man change the outcome of his life?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know if you can. I think what happens is that you have your experience, your environment, and your spirit, and they all work together to form this thing called your life, man. We all do the best we can.
That's it.